Welcome to a new session of Shikshana Taranga by Cloud-Tutors, a program for 10th standard students to prepare for state board exams. Today we will be discussing about the chapter Life Processes. This chapter comes under the subject biology, which carries about 26 to 27 marks in your entire science paper. Weightage for this chapter is 6 marks. Important tips: drawing and labeling of diagrams is important. So, which diagrams can appear from this chapter? Open and closed stomatal pore, nutrition in amoeba, human alimentary canal, human heart, excretory system, nephron. So these diagrams can come from this chapter. So today's topic is nutrition from the chapter Life Processes. So in the topic nutrition, what we will be studying today? Nutrition can be of two types, that is autotropism and heterotropism. In autotropism, we will be studying about photosynthesis. So what exactly in photosynthesis that we'll be studying? The raw materials for photosynthesis, events during photosynthesis, site of photosynthesis, opening and closing of stomata, structure of chloroplast. Under heterotropism, we will be studying about saprophytic, symbiotic, parasitic and holozoic mode of nutrition. Now, let us understand what is nutrition. Nutrition is nothing but the process in which an organism ingests food. Ingestion of food is nothing but consuming food, eating food. From the food we eat, we get energy. That energy will be utilized for growth, repair and maintenance activities. The undigested food that has to be thrown out of the body. That happens by a process called excretion. Excretion is also known as egestion. Excretion is also known as egestion. The nutrients what we eat, that can be in the form of the food obtained from plants, that is veg food, or the source of food can be animals, that is non-vegetarian food. The intention here to get proper nutrition is to consume wholesome food or a complete food. So what is complete food? When I say complete food, it should contain all the nutrients. It should contain carbohydrate, protein, lipid, minerals, vitamins. All these nutrients should be present in adequate amount. Types of nutrition. There are two types of nutrition, that is autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. So under autotrophic nutrition, photosynthesis and chemosynthesis, these are autotrophic nutrition. What does autotrophic nutrition mean? Auto is self, tropos is nothing but nourishment. Animals which are autotrophic are plants, algae, blue-green bacteria. So these are all autotrophic. Coming to heterotropism. Hetero means others and tropos is nourishment. Here the organisms get nourishment from other animals. They are dependent on other animals. Examples for heterotrophs are insects, birds, animals. These are the examples for heterotrophic organisms. Now let us discuss about autotropism. So autotropism includes photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. So now let us concentrate on photosynthesis. So what happens during photosynthesis? This equation represents the equation for photosynthesis. So photo is nothing but light and synthesis is to combine or to produce. So using sunlight, food will be prepared here. So the raw materials for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, water from the soil will be absorbed by the roots of the plant. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, glucose will be produced. Along with the glucose, oxygen is also liberated. So here, if you see the reaction, you can see that there is energy conversion. So what type of energy is converted into what? So here, the solar energy or the light energy is converted into chemical energy. When I say chemical energy, it is in the form of ATP and NADPH. So here, sun's energy is absorbed by the plant. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere will be used. Water is absorbed by the roots. So using carbon dioxide, water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, food is prepared, that is glucose, as well as oxygen will be liberated to the atmosphere. Now let us understand the events during photosynthesis. What happens during photosynthesis? There are 4 main steps involved in photosynthesis. So here you can see the white light or the sun's light is absorbed by the leaf, right? The white light contains different colors. So white light is absorbed. So mainly the blue and the red is strongly absorbed by the chlorophyll molecules. And what is reflected is the green color or the green light. That is why leaves appear green in color. The first step in photosynthesis is absorption of light. That happens with the help of the coloring pigment called as chlorophyll. Next step is the conversion of light energy into chemical energy. Chemical energy, that is ATP and NADP. The third step is very important, and that is the splitting up of the water molecule. Here the water molecule, that is the water from the soil which is absorbed by the roots, that water molecule is going to split up. When it splits, oxygen will be produced, and that oxygen is liberated during photosynthesis. So a very important question can appear from this event. That is, the oxygen liberated during photosynthesis comes from. It comes from the splitting up of the water molecule. You have to remember that. The fourth step is the reduction of the carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. So this is the equation for photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide, water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll produces glucose, and oxygen will be liberated. So these 4 steps tells us about the events happening during photosynthesis. This also is a very important question which can appear in your board exam. Site of photosynthesis. So where does this photosynthesis happen? We know that green plants photosynthesize, right? Photosynthesis takes place in green plants. So the leaves are basically green in color. So green leaf, that is the place where photosynthesis happens. It is called the kitchen of the plant, right? So here, if you take a piece of this leaf and observe what are the parts it contains. So the parts of the leaf contain a waxy layer. Outermost layer will be the waxy layer called as cuticle. It is present both on the upper side and the lower side of the leaf. Then comes epidermis. Epidermis is a single layer of cell which is compactly arranged. So it has upper epidermis and the lower epidermis. In between the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis, there is a region called as the mesophyll. The mesophyll region basically has 2 types of cells, that is palisade and the spongy cells. When you look at the palisade cells, they are green in color. They contain chloroplast. And that is where the photosynthesis happens. Photosynthesis happens in the chloroplast, a cell organelle called as chloroplast. So if you look at the epidermal layer, there are specialized structures called as the stomata. Now what are stomata? Stomata is nothing but tiny pores present on the surface of the leaf. So here you can see the stomatal apparatus. This is the stomatal apparatus. So you can see that a section of leaf will appear like this under the microscope. So this is how you can see the functioning of the stomata. The stomata is closing as well as it is opening. So the function of stomata can be seen here. And the diagram here tells about the open. This is the open, stomatal pore is open here, and the stomatal pore is closed here. So when we discuss the structure, so these are the guard cells. Guard cells, and the surrounding cells present in the surrounding of the guard cell, those are called as subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells. So if you see the guard cell, we can make out it has vacuole. It has vacuole, nucleus, and the surrounding cells are called as subsidiary cells. The function of subsidiary cell is to support the function of stomata. Now let us understand the functioning of stomata. So if you see here, you can see that carbon dioxide is getting in, that is for the process of photosynthesis. So exchange of gases happen through the stomata. And you can see that the water is coming out. That is nothing but the water vapor during transpiration. Transpiration is the process where the excess of water will be thrown out, or it comes out of the plant in the form of water vapor. So loss of water in the form of water vapor through the aerial parts of the plant is transpiration. So stomata, through the stomatal pore, even the water in the form of water vapor will come out during transpiration. So the main function of stomata is exchange of gases. That is for photosynthesis, the carbon dioxide has to come into the plant, and the oxygen produced during photosynthesis will go out. So this exchange of gases will happen through the stomata, as well as the process of transpiration also happens through the stomata. Now the question is, how does this exchange happen? How the guard cells will open and close? How does the functioning of guard cell affect this process of exchanging gases and transpiration? So opening and closing of stomata depends upon the condition of the guard cell. In the first case here, you can see that the guard cells are turgid. Guard cells are turgid. When I say guard cells are turgid, they are swollen. Why they are swollen? That is because of the entry of water molecule. When the water molecules enter into the guard cells are in turgid condition. When they are in turgid condition, the inner membrane here, the inner layer here are pulled apart, and the stomatal pore is open. Whereas what happens when the guard cell loses water? When water is lost from the guard cell, there is a flaccid condition here. Guard cells are in flaccid condition. When guard cells are in flaccid condition, the membrane here comes together, closing the stomatal pore, and we say that the stomata is closed. So the concentration of water present inside the guard cell, that determines if the stomata is open or it is closed. Now let us discuss the structure of chloroplast. This is the place where exactly the photosynthesis happens. So the structure of chloroplast. Chloroplast is the specialized cell organelle where photosynthesis occurs. It is a double membrane cell organ. It has a double membrane. It has its own DNA as well as it has ribosomes. So the outermost membrane, it has the outer membrane, it has inner membrane. Like how a cell has cytoplasm, similarly this cell organelle has the inner fluid layer called as inner fluid matrix called as the stroma. So in the stroma there are membranous structures suspended. So here we have coin-like structures, right? We have coin-like structures here. They are called as thylakoid. They are called as thylakoid. The inner portion or the thylakoid, the coin-shaped thylakoid are stacked one above the other. They are arranged one above the other. And this stack of coins or stack of thylakoid is called as granum. Granum, each granum is interconnected with the neighboring granum. So this interconnection is by a membranous structure called as a lamella. Lamella connects one granum to another granum which is present inside the stroma. So this is the structure of chloroplast, and thylakoid is the structure. Inside the thylakoid, the photosynthesis occurs. Now coming to the significance of photosynthesis. So why is photosynthesis so important? By photosynthesis we get food. So all the organisms, they get their food by the plants. From the plants we get our food. So what will happen during photosynthesis? Glucose is synthesized, right? Glucose is produced. So here if you see, from the light energy from the sun, here the plants prepare their food, that is glucose is prepared. Now that food is eaten up by the herbivores. Here we have a very small insect feeding on the plant. That plant is going to eat the food prepared by the plant. Now that insect, that small insect is eaten by a larger insect, for example a bug over here. That is going to consume this insect. So what is happening here? The food energy is getting transferred from one organism to another organism, and that helps in maintaining the ecological balance. So this bug will be eaten by the bird here. So it continues, the energy flow will continue in the ecosystem. So ecological balance is maintained since photosynthesis is the process where food is prepared by the plants, and that food energy is getting transferred from one organism to another organism. So ecological balance is maintained by photosynthesis. Next we have atmospheric balance. So when I say atmospheric balance, we are talking about the gases, that is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide will be used during photosynthesis and oxygen will be liberated. And the liberation of oxygen is very important because we use oxygen for respiration. Next is energy conversion. Because of photosynthesis, energy conversion happens. So the energy conversion is solar energy will be converted into chemical energy. Then the chemical energy, that is ATP and NADPH, that will be converted into fossil fuels. So when plants and animals die, they die and decay, they will be converted finally after millions of years into fossil fuel. So the energy conversion, that is solar energy, will be converted into chemical energy will be converted into fossil fuel. So there is energy conversion. So these are the significance of photosynthesis. So this is why photosynthesis is very important for us. Next comes the nitrogen fixation. So plants, they absorb many nutrients from the soil which is necessary for their growth and metabolism. For example, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, iron, magnesium. These are the nutrients which are essential for the growth and metabolism of the plants. So the question here is that nitrogen, which is abundantly present in the atmosphere, which is about 79%. So this atmospheric nitrogen cannot be directly absorbed by the plants. So how do the plants get nitrogen? So that is by nitrogen fixation. And this nitrogen fixation from the atmosphere is done by the soil bacteria called as the rhizobium, which is present in the root nodules. It is present in the root nodules of the leguminous plant. So what this bacteria does is that it converts the atmospheric nitrogen, that is N2, into the absorbable form. When I say absorbable form, it is in the form of nitrates and nitrites. So these are the absorbable form. So this bacteria rhizobium converts the atmospheric nitrogen, that is N2, into absorbable form so that the plants can absorb these nitrates and nitrites. So salts of nitrates and nitrites will be absorbed by the bacteria, by the plants. So this is about nitrogen fixation.